everybody. I hope you are all keeping well. We are now live for episode 10 of our Q&A for Parenting in My Pocket. We've hit double figures. I'd like to congratulate you all on hitting double figures. It is a wonderful achievement by you all to actually listen to me ramble on for 10 episodes. It's been really enjoyable getting all the feedback from you guys, and thanks so much for the questions. We have a couple of interesting questions today, which we will get in shortly, but first things first. It's arrived. It's an actual physical book. I never thought I would see my picture on the back of a book. It's bloody amazing. Thank you everyone so much who has bought a book already. I had no expectations about where it would go or what would happen or what would do, but the response has been phenomenal. So thank you everyone who has bought a book. If you haven't bought a book already, you can do on Amazon. Just search my name and you'll be able to pick it up on Kindle or in paperback, which is kind of nice. It's nice to get back into the old physical books. I know a lot of people prefer that. So yeah, it's out and can be purchased, and you are helping the parent and Alan O'Donoghue by contributing. So yeah, it's a wonderful feeling, and I am delighted to have it out. Our Teachable course is now out as well. So the first course we've up there is our general parenting, practical, positive parenting skills. That's what it is. We're going to be adding loads more short courses, longer courses, so you guys can jump on there and do it in your own time and let me know what you think. So we're going to try and throw in online stuff. We're going to throw in anxiety stuff. We're going to throw in COVID stuff. We're going to get lots and lots of different programs up for you guys to jump on in and see how you get on with. So even if you're not a parent as such, you should find some interesting courses up there very soon in terms of how you can maybe manage your own mental health through this current situation that we're going through. So yeah, book is out. Go buy a book. I highly recommend it. What else? Yeah, the Parenting in My Pocket podcast seems to be going down a storm as well. You guys are really enjoying myself and Mary's little conversations, and it's great. I love getting to speak to her. She's a wonderful human being with so much knowledge. But it's great to be able to share it with you guys and for us to have that conversation back and forth around some of the psychological theories and psychotherapeutic theories. That sounds very pretentious, but the ones we delve into are actually very simple, and they help us understand how we do what we do and how we relate to other people. So it's getting a really good response, and I really appreciate it. Please do continue to like and share the podcasts and this and everything else that's going on. So even if you're just reposting or giving an Amazon review on the book or something like that, it does make a difference, and I really appreciate it. Please do support the Patreon page, patreon.com/Alan Podcast. The first podcast in series 4 is up with Jamie Lee, who's a speed flyer. So if you've seen Magnetic, the Netflix documentary, Jamie Lee is in it. And after I saw it, I went, that is bananas what he does, throws himself down the side of mountains. So I asked him, would he do an interview? He said yes, and we had a cracking interview. So please do check that out. If you just search Alan O'Donoghue Podcasts, you'll see Jamie Lee's interview. Hello to Maria, Caitlin, and Jennifer. Hope you guys are keeping all well. Louise also, good to see you. Right, I don't have anything else to tell you about. Yeah, just get on the Teachable. Genuinely, Teachable, right? Don't tell anyone. But if you would like a discount, just at the checkouts page, do SUB123, and you'll get 10% discount. Shh, that's not for everyone to know. Okay, so you guys, if you want to do that parenting course, trust me, there's a lot of things in it that help you within yourself, not just for children or parents. It's really helpful for our own mental health as well. So yeah, jump on and check that out. SUB123 at the checkout stage, you'll get a discount. And we have a free monthly webinar online where you can jump on board after you've done the course, and you can take part in the webinar where you can fire questions at me and I'll answer them and we'll deal with whatever comes up. 2 questions today. Okay. First one. My son is in transition year. Okay, so for those of you not in Ireland, transition year is when you're about 15 years of age. So we do an exam here called the Junior Certificate exam. It's the first exam that we do in preparation for our leaving certificate, which would be the equivalent of the A levels. So I'd say the junior cert is probably the equivalent to GCSEs maybe in the UK. But transition year is the year after you do those first exams. And transition year is more of a, not a kind of a dossier, but more of a, trying different things, different activities, different, you do mini companies, you do environmental projects, you just do lots of different things on transition year. It's a good fun year. You get a bit of pressure off you, and at the same time you get to explore new things as well. So transition year is really, really good. So this person saying, my son is in transition year. He didn't do particularly well in his junior certificate, which was a bit worrying. Usually transition year is seen as a bit of a dossier, there you go, but the students get to do lots of different interesting things. But with COVID-19 restrictions, a lot of the things that they would normally do are not going ahead. TY is compulsory in the school my son is in, and I was a bit worried that he would lose interest in his work anyway, but since he's gone back, he seemed to literally be doing nothing. He says to us that the teachers aren't giving them work to do, so what can he do about it? I'm concerned that he'll completely lose any work ethic and won't be able to get going again in 5th year, and then will struggle for the leaving certificate. Have you any advice on what I can do to encourage him to do some work outside of school just to keep him taking over? The junior certificate is like I said, it's a pre-exam, so it's not particularly important, but it can, for the young people doing it, they can find it really, really big, and for the parents it can be really, really big because it's a lot's made of it. And what we need to remember is that at that age, they're probably 14 or 15 years of age doing the junior certificate, maybe 15. Some people might be 16. It can be a very wearing thing, because what you're doing is you're experiencing the pressure of a serious state exam, and some people find it really, really difficult. Schools put a lot of pressure on kids, parents put a lot of pressure on kids, and kids sometimes put a lot of pressure on themselves. So here we have a young man who obviously didn't work as hard as maybe his mum feels he could have. And for this mum, you were probably disappointed by the sounds of it. He may have been disappointed, he may not. But ultimately, there's a big change between junior cert level and leaving cert level. So there's a natural maturation process. So you're not the same at 17, 18 that you are at 15, 14, okay? They can mature. He may start to get interests when he gets into 5th year, and he might go, I want to be a doctor. He might not, but he might turn around and say he wants to be a doctor. So he might go, well, I'm going all in on my studies. And I think it's about trying to get that balance, and that can be the difficulty for you, is for you getting the balance between encouraging him to keep working and at the same time not adding extra stress on yourself and him, where he's going, I don't really care. And a lot of kids will say that now, I don't care about school, I hate school, don't enjoy it. But kids have been saying that for years. It's just now we feel that it's a lot more difficult. But in actual fact, there's never been a better time to not do quite as well in school, because you can always, there's so many more options available. Now, I'm not encouraging you or any other parent to let your kids off the hook not doing any work, but it's getting him starting to think about, okay, well, what are you interested in? What do you like? It's really disappointing for him that he's not getting to do all these things in transition year, like going away on weekend trips, like getting involved in social activities, because that can always spark new potential areas of interest or potential move towards work. I know a lot of transition years, they get to do work experience at that stage, so that can sometimes either cement a job that they were interested in, or put them off a job that they were in, or help them find something new that they never thought they'd be interested in before. The issue this mum has is that nothing seems to be going on. The school maybe have got a bit lax, and maybe the son has got a little bit lax. Okay, you have a choice. You can accept what he's saying and say the school aren't giving us tons of work to do, and go, okay, well, you just do transition year the way you need to do transition year, and let him deal with whatever results in him not doing the work. Or if you can't do that as a parent, do you explore looking at getting him some grinds and say, okay, you're appearing to not do work, and you will get kids all over the place who will be saying, I'm working loads, I'm doing so much, I'm studying loads, and they're actually not. So there has to be a certain amount of trust. But you might start to look at getting him grinds in the subjects that maybe he struggled in most in the junior certificate, because the junior certificate, there's issues with it. I have issues with it, but it's gotten better in terms of the continuous assessment is there now. So it's not just on the exam results, it's looking at classroom-based assessments as well. But still not just right for everybody. So maybe what you could do is look at, well, okay, we accept that this year is not going the way you had hoped, or we had hoped, or thought it would do. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on 2 or 3 grinds for the subjects that you struggled in, and you bring him to those. So that way you know he's getting at least 2 or 3 hours a week where he is actually doing some work. You might not have the money to pay for those grinds. So that's where you may approach local youth groups. There are lots of organisations out there who will be able to support your child through their academic studies without it being a thing you have to pay for. It might be just a club membership. So go and check your local youth clubs. If you're in Drogheda, go and check out Boomerang Youth Cafe. They have tons of great projects down there that can help and support. Then, yes, the other thing I'd say is he's probably getting to an age where he can start to think about working, or certainly getting involved in voluntary work. And as anyone who has listened to me over the years will know, I am fully on board in getting our children working or volunteering, because what they do is they learn, one, that they have value and that somebody needs them. They have the ability to help people out. 2, they have responsibility to other people, not just you. So they learn what life is like in the real world. And 3, their sense of self-worth increases exponentially. And it helps with them maturing, becoming adults, and realizing that I don't just get everything handed to me, or they don't just have an excuse for not getting up off their arse and going and doing some work. So, can you explore your child working at the weekends or during holidays? Do you know anyone that would give your child a job? Do you know anyone who would give them a little bit of work? If that's not possible, can they get involved in voluntary work? Go down to your local volunteer bureau. See, is there opportunities for 16-year-olds or whatever age your child is to get involved in volunteering? There may or there may not, but then can they help the local people in the area? Can they, are there elderly people in your area who maybe need groceries delivered or picked up? Are there people in your local area who maybe need small things from the shops where they don't need to get a full delivery sent, but it's just milk, bread, cheese, whatever? And can your son help that? Can you get him going around cutting grass? Now, I know it's getting into the winter, so that's maybe not applicable, but washing windows, all that kind of stuff. And start to encourage and support him getting a sense of having something to contribute that is outside of the family home. It is the best way for him to learn those personal skills. It's the best way for him to learn that he has worth, and that you might go away and go, that's great, Alan, fantastic. And you might go and suggest something and go, you're mad. I'm just going to play me console all day. But that's where you have to look at, no, you have to earn your console time. So you may need to put some boundaries in place and put some consequences in place where he doesn't get his console until he's done the work. He doesn't get his console until he's gone for his grinds or gone to the youth club. Now, you might say, well, restrictions make it difficult, but there's a lot of activities going on online. It's not ideal. It's not ideal, but it is the way it is. And we have to deal with the fact that it's not ideal right now. So give him a kick in the arse, metaphorically speaking, and get him moving to start to work or start to get some sort of voluntary work. Or so encourage him to set up a little company himself. Is he interested in something? Does he like, I don't know, is he big into drawing? Is he big into crafting? Is there something that he could do? A lot of young people want to be TikTok stars or YouTube stars or Instagram influencers. Well, is there something that he can do? And explore that. And maybe if he gets into voluntary work, maybe he can document his voluntary work. There's no harm at all. And see how that goes. Come back to me, but definitely look at trying to empower him and see. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Denise. How are we all doing? Okay, Frika, good to see you. How can you tell if a child has anxiety? Well, they might tell you. They might seem off their food. They might seem a bit nervous about things. And like, how can you tell if a child has anxiety? We all have anxiety, Maria. We all have anxiety. Every one of us. Everyone gets anxious. It's a normal response. And again, like I said before, anxiety is the buzzword at the moment as if it's a disease, and it's not. So what happens is our response to situations is more than is realistic. So the mouse runs across the floor, we jump up onto the chair and start screaming. That's not a real response to the threat of a mouse. And that's where the anxiety can push us, okay? So if you've got a child who is maybe feeling sick, looking for excuses to not go to school, to go to club, whatever it might be, ask them, how do you feel? What's making you not want to go? They might say, I just don't want to go. But they could be being bullied. They could be not understanding what's happening. They could be genuinely sick. But you'll start to recognize changes in behavior. Changes in how they speak, and how they want to get involved in things. And that's where you can start to look at, okay, is there something you need help with? And that's where you can start to explore anxiety with your kids. But what will be important and is important is that we don't just label anxiety like it is a disease. It's about helping our kids settle within themselves that they're okay, that there is techniques that you can use to start to manage it. And come back to me, Maria, if you're looking for some of those techniques. I can send you on some bits and pieces. Did I have a nice birthday? I did have a lovely birthday, thank you. Did I get anything nice? I got a lovely Liverpool retro jersey, which I was very happy with. Lisa, I love the documentary. Yeah, it was fantastic. What is lockdown like over in Ireland? It's okay. It is what it is, really. Yeah, it's just one of those things we have to deal with. Okay, our second question today. And this is the first, because I'm actually going to name the person. So this question comes in from Alan in Drogheda. And Alan in Drogheda wants to know is, what do you do when your daughter reads your book and then uses the content to test you on the boundaries that you're putting in place? Alan in Drogheda, that sounds like quite a challenging situation. So it's clear Alan from Drogheda here has written a book which his daughter has read, and his daughter is using it as a tool to kind of go, okay, let's see if Alan from Drogheda does what he says in his book, which is presenting Alan from Drogheda with some challenges as a parent. So Alan from Drogheda, what I would suggest is explore what's actually going on behind this for your child. Is there something going on? So we've just hit a situation where we've just finished school, there's a lockdown again, and that can be quite challenging for children because they're not sure. They're going back to school. There's a lot of talk about increases in COVID cases. Their sports have been impacted. There's a lot of difficulties there. The other things that maybe it's worth exploring is, do you need to prove to this child that, yes, the boundaries are going to be put in place and I'm going to be consistent and I'm going to be sticking with it and there will be actual consequences and following through with those consequences and being consistent, but making sure that you don't set those consequences at a level that make it extremely difficult for you to implement. So Alan from Drogheda, what I would kind of think is maybe take a step back. Look at your daughter. Look at, is she struggling maybe to deal with something in terms of the current situation? And that's going to be natural, okay? But with the current situation, is it going to be something that is easily dealt with? But sometimes what can be extremely challenging is 2 or 3 different things happening at once. So break them down, deal with each one separately, give a consequence and explain the boundary very clearly to your child and let them know that this is not okay and you're going to stick to it. Now that doesn't mean that she's not going to challenge you later on. That doesn't mean that she's not going to actually push even harder, but this is where you need to step in and show that, okay, what I have said in the book is actually what's going to happen here. It takes a lot of work. It can be very, very challenging, but it is worth it. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Go pick up your copy of Parenting in My Pocket, Volume 1 Q&A. Denise, oh God, I get that all the time with food and my kids. Glad to tune in today. Yeah. Caitlin, answering your own question at all? No, not at all. Guys, I appreciate you checking in, joining us. Check out my motivation interview. Check out the Parenting in My Pocket podcast. Go and do my completely updated online positive parenting skills course with loads of new techniques added to it on the Teachable page. So you'll see the link down below. Check it out. There's a discount code for everybody. SUB123 at the checkout and you will get 10% discount. Guys, until next week, you take care.